Hi, Shelley.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you? How are you?
I'm
Good to
good.
see you. You look great. I love your hair.
Oh, thank you. You do as well.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you for having me on here.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you
Thank you for joining us here. We've all been waiting. Everyone is waiting to hear you speak about immigration and weddings.
okay.
So let me tell you a
Okay,
little bit about
great.
Shelley. She's an immigration lawyer here in Houston, and she's been doing this, providing her services for over 10 years. She's been in Houston for over 25 years. She's
Yes.
originally from Jamaica.
Yes.
So, of course, she would know a lot about immigration because, she came in as well as an immigrant. So
Yes.
today we're going to be talking to her, about weddings, about people that have fiancé out of the country, and about people that have international guests that have been invited to their wedding.
Yes. Thank you
Uh,
so much,
you're
Dorian,
welcome.
for
You're
that
welcome.
introduction.
Is there anything else you
Dorian
want
and
to
I,
say about yourself? Do you want to say anything else about yourself? Because I know I just said very little. Okay.
yes, as Dorian stated, I'm an immigration attorney here in Houston, Texas. You can follow me at Simon Says Law on Instagram and on Facebook. And my offices are located here in Houston. So if you have an immigration need, please feel free to look me up.
All right. All right. All right. So let's get started.
Okay.
Can you tell us briefly how immigration has changed since COVID-19? Because I know a lot of things have changed. There are a lot of laws, new laws, and some restrictions. So can you tell us how everything has changed since COVID-19 with immigration?
Yes, I'll go through briefly how some things have changed. And if you're kind of keeping up with the news and what's going on, you may have seen Trump release a tweet saying, due to the invisible virus, he's going to be doing an immigration ban. And a lot of people got really nervous and really scared. But it happened on April 23rd. It went into effect at 11:59 p.m. And I'll just go over it briefly because there were a lot of different things covered.
Okay.
But Trump claimed that he wanted to preserve American jobs. And because he wanted to preserve American jobs, he wanted to institute this 60-day ban on
Okay.
immigration.
Okay.
He wanted to keep the jobs here in the U.S. So in essence, if you don't have a green card, if you don't have a travel document, such as a parole, then you would not be able to come into the United States.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for summing that up for us. So can you tell us what this means for wedding guests or event guests? People that have already bought their tickets for, let's say, an event coming up in July or maybe August. What does it mean for
Right,
this guest?
absolutely. So as you know, you're in the wedding planning business, wedding season is coming up. It's summertime, fast approaching. Typically, this would be the time people are having weddings,
Yes.
but obviously a lot has changed due to COVID. Um, wedding guests, they may typically come in on a non-immigrant visa. So
Okay.
we have different visa types. One is a non-immigrant visa, and one is an immigrant visa. The non-immigrant visa means that they don't have immigration intent. So they would be coming here for a brief period of time, temporarily, right? So this would
Okay.
be the type of visa that a wedding guest may have. And in order to go through that process,
Yes.
you would have had to have gone through that process prior to COVID and perhaps have that to maybe even have a hope right now. Because with the way that things are going with the processing of the B1, B2 visas,
Yes.
the consulates right now, the State Department, they're not processing
Okay.
those type of visas right now. There's a hold on processing those. So we would really have to uh, do a little bit more research as far as which countries, but as a whole, the State Department are not really processing those. So if you had already been issued a B1, B2 visa, this, like I said, is a non-immigrant visa. So you should be able to come in given that what are the laws of your country as far as leaving? Would you be able to get hotel accommodations? What would it be like traveling at this time? So
Mhm.
there's a possibility, if you already have the B1, B2 visa, that you may be able to come in. But if it's something that you're like, okay, I want to start the process right now, the consulate, they're not really processing.
Okay. So you said if you have a B1 or B2 visa, you may be able to come in. So it's a may, it's not even certain. So you're saying they may send them back, or will they allow them?
It really just depends on the country too.
Oh, okay, on the country. So let's say
Yeah.
Nigeria, or because a lot
Mhm.
of my clients, I do a lot
Mhm.
of multicultural weddings, so at least half of them are Nigerian. So will they let them in, or will they not let them in?
Because it's a non-immigrant visa, if they have it already and they, have their ticket, if everything is clear, everything is ready to go, it's
Yeah.
a possibility that yes, they could be able to.
Okay.
The laws are changing so fast
Mm-hmm.
that we're not exactly sure how things are going to go. But uh, as it states with non-immigrant versus immigrant visa, if you have a non-immigrant visa,
Yeah.
you should be able to travel.
Okay. Somebody real quick before I ask my next question, someone here had asked a question about when the travel ban will be lifted. Do you have an idea of when that would be lifted?
So as I stated previously, the travel ban went into effect on April 23rd, and it was supposed
Okay.
to be a 60-day travel ban.
Okay.
Now, when the travel ban went, so it's currently supposedly still in effect.
Yes.
The effect of the travel ban was that um, it didn't really change a whole lot because things were already impacted due to COVID. So
Okay.
even though the president got on there and he said, okay, we're doing a travel ban, things were already severely impacted due to COVID. So in essence, it didn't really change a whole lot for a lot of people,
Yeah.
because of what happened or what is happening with COVID.
Yeah.
Um, now, I'm sorry, remind me of what their question was.
When do you think it'll be lifted? Do you think it's going to be lifted in June, July?
Okay,
Yeah.
so what the president has said is that the ban could be extended.
Okay.
He left it open
Okay.
that the ban could be extended. And as I said, this is for immigrant visas. He also has left it open that he may extend it to non-immigrant visas. So non-immigrant visa would be the B1, B2 visitor visa. He just kind of left that open.
Okay.
So, the way that things are right now with immigration law, things are so
Yeah.
fast changing,
Mhm.
what it's going to be. As of now, yes, we are still under those 60 days, right? Because it
Okay.
just
Yeah.
was in April 23rd. So, will it be extended? That's something that we're going to have to be watching and see.
Okay.
Immigration law is so fast changing that we'll have to
Mhm.
monitor that. Mhm.
All right. So someone else asked if it's um the ban for the is it the ban for the immigration for immigrants or for COVID? Which one is going to be lifted? She just asked.
Okay.
Travel ban for
So,
COVID or travel ban for immigration reform? Sorry. Okay.
and again, that's going to be the same question because we're going to have to be watching to see how
Okay.
things are. Countries are opening up right now. A lot of the U.S. is opening up. A lot of the states are opening up. It's really going to be dependent on how the laws come into effect because, how long is this thing going to go on for? How, are we going to get um, some treatment? Are we,
Oh, okay.
they're
Okay.
coming up with stuff. So, we're just going to have to keep watching and keep seeing. But, as of right now, they're limiting immigrant visas. Now, the B1, B2 visa is discretionary. Okay, it's
Okay.
discretionary and it's also very difficult to get. It's something that, prior to this is not necessarily an easy process, right?
Okay.
So, um, there's that to consider as well, that the B1, B2 is discretionary. That means that they could give it to you, they could not give it to you.
Okay.
And it's difficult to get for any country to come here.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Someone asked about EB5. I'm not sure what that is.
Oh,
The kind
okay.
of
Yeah,
visa.
that's
She's trying to
a
figure
visa.
out what kind of
Mhm.
visa is that. Can you tell us what kind of visa that is? And then how is it going to be impacted? She's trying to figure out how it's impacted. Maybe that's the kind of visa she has. So she's asking if that's impacted or how that's going to be impacted.
With the EB5 visas, that's typically with business, immigration,
Okay.
and that's a little bit more going into employment.
Mhm.
So if you want to call and discuss, we can set up a time. My phone number is 281-606-5362. So I can do a little bit more research into your specific situation.
Okay. So another quick question before I go to our next question. Um, there are some brides and some couples that are here. They were planning to get married, but some of them have F1 student visas. I mean, what do you think is
Mhm.
going to happen to them? Someone just asked about them. What do you advise them to do? What do you think they need to do? Just stay calm. And
Well,
I actually do have a bride who is actually a student on student visa, actually thinking about it.
mhm.
Yeah.
So they're currently in the United States and they have a F1 visa. Is that what the
Hmm.
situation is?
Yes. Hmm.
Currently in the US, they have an F1 visa.
Hmm.
Now, are they still able to keep their visa current? Because that's going to be very important if they want to use that visa to, let's say, F1 visa. Let's say they were going to go from F1 and then they were going to get married to a US citizen and adjust their status, right?
Hmm.
So it just kind of depends on if their visa is current or not. So that's going to be a different analysis because if their visa is not current, there may be certain benefits that they're not going to be able to apply for anymore. It's very important to keep those visas current.
Okay. Okay. All right. So you've heard that, and it's Simon Says Law. I'm going to type that here. That's the name of her law firm. Reach out to her, because I know she can answer 100 questions. Um, I wanted you to speak specifically to Nigeria or maybe other African countries, because, like I said earlier, on many of my clients have guests coming in from Nigeria and other parts of Africa. So,
Mm-hmm.
can you go in depth, and just tell us a
Yeah,
little bit more about what's going to happen to those guests?
right.
Yeah.
So for people who are considered non-immigrant with the B1, B2 visa, if they don't have immigrant intent, the ban is not necessarily applying to them,
Mhm.
the travel ban, because it's covering people who are outside of the United States.
Yeah.
It does not cover people who are inside of the United States. So,
Hmm.
people who are saying like, okay, I'm here, and I've done my paperwork. I'm located here with my spouse. Is this affecting me? No, it's not. This ban was in effect slowing down people coming from who are already outside of the country. And so, if you had to, for example, consular process,
Okay.
consular process is where it's another process you go through to get your green card when you're
Hmm.
located outside of the United States. And
Yeah.
some people, if they are married, right, they're married and their spouse is located outside the United States, they were going through consular process to bring them here.
Hmm.
Well, the issue now, the holdup now is that the State Department is not, processing, through the consular. So usually you would, go to that fiance, that foreign fiance would go to their embassy in their country, or they would go to the consular office in their country. And because of COVID, due to COVID, they're
Yeah.
not processing it right now. So those people who are trying to come in to be with their spouse, now they have been held up.
Yeah.
So those are some of the issues that are going on right now due to that.
Okay. Um, so a few people sent me some questions when I told them I was going to be, doing this with you. And one of the questions was the different types of visas. I don't know if they're like 30 or 40. You don't have to mention all of them, but I guess you can mention like the common ones and what each of them mean so people can understand this. Because there are a lot of people, thousands of people in our community right now that are stuck here. They don't know what to do. They don't understand what their visa means. Some came on visiting visas, some came on different types of visas, and they're not sure, what's going to happen with them with all that is going on right now and with all the
Absolutely.
restrictions. So can you tell us some of this, name some of these visas and also tell us what they mean?
Yes. So as I stated earlier, there's you have non-immigrant visas and you have immigrant visas.
Okay.
Immigrant visa is when you're wanting to come and live and work in the United States with a green card. So you're a lawful permanent resident, you're here, you want to live here, you want to work here, and eventually you will be able to become a United States citizen.
Yes.
There are so many different types of visas, so many. Um, let me talk about some of the common ones, which would be family-based, right? So this, if you are petitioning for, let's say, a mother, you're petitioning for a child. According to the government, is someone who is under 21. So
Okay.
if you have someone who's 20 years old, for example, that would be considered a child. If you have a parent, you're a United States citizen, but you have a parent, you could um, sponsor that person, and they would be an immediate relative. So immigration law is really difficult to try to compress it to a few minutes, but just kind of broadly speaking, you have the immigrant visas, you have the non-immigrant visas.
Okay.
A non-immigrant visa could be somebody who's coming here to be a nanny or something like that, to work here.
Okay. Okay.
It could be, someone who's coming, like I said, on a B1, B2 visa as a visitor. I know that there are a lot of situations now, and I've gotten some calls where, people have lost their jobs, right, due to COVID, and they were here on an employment visa. And so if they've lost their job, what do I do now? Because this is, where I've made my home, and what am I going to do? Because now my job is not sponsoring me. So, right. So you're going to have to, like I said, I'm willing to talk to anybody who has a specific question. Give me a call, 281-606-5362. But you can look and we can analyze and see, is there going to be a way that you can stay in the country? You may be able to extend your visa. Some people are here on a visitor visa. Yes, you can.
So
You can
the
apply
person
to.
that came on an employee that the employer filed for, or gave a visa, and now he's no longer employed, are they still able to stay in the country?
It really just depends on the situation and what's available to them, and if they have some other recourse. And just like you said, some people they want to start, for example, they want to switch over to being a student visa. So there are different ways and different things. Do you have, are you an immediate relative of a United States citizen? That would make a big difference on how they can petition for you. So it's just very kind of case specific, and there are quite a few. I'll give you an example of a visa a lot of people don't know about, or may not even think about, is an investor visa. If you have a lot of money and you want to invest in the United States and you want to open a business in the United States, you could even apply for an investor visa. There are visas for people with special talent, people who are artists, people who are singers, people
Really?
people who are sports, people who are in the sports arena, and they want to come here to the United States. So there are so many types of visas available and out there that you typically don't hear about.
Yeah, I've heard about the investor's visa. I think you have to invest about $500,000. That's the EB-5. Is that the EB-5 visa?
I'm not as well versed with the business, but it's anywhere, I think, 800 to $1 million. I'd have to go back and
look at it. Okay. And then I didn't know there was one for special talents. I didn't know there was one for sports, as well. So okay. So I had another question for you. Going back to weddings now, because we've kind of drifted a little bit. Someone said now it's 900,000. Wow. So you're right.
That's what I was saying.
$1 million. Okay. So you're right there. Yeah, 900. I guess it used to be 500 at some point. I didn't know it was now 900,000. Okay. All right. So that makes it difficult for just anyone. You have to have, you know, a lot of money to
Exactly.
be able to do
Exactly.
that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I know first of all, what's the difference between the K1 and the F1? They're different visas, right?
Yes, the K1 is the fiance visa.
Okay, good. All right, so that's my question now. So what if someone, you're a fiancé, or you have a fiancé that is in the process, you know, of filing the K1 visa? They had started, you know, before all this happened. And how are the visas being impacted right now?
Right. So with the K1 visa, there is a part where you have to finish the process through the consular. You have to finish the process through your embassy.
Okay.
And as of right now, due to COVID,
Yeah.
they have closed that. And so, you know, that's impacted a lot of applications right now.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, a lot of people have asked me too, is USCIS closed? So I just wanted to let people know, no, USCIS is not closed.
Okay.
USCIS is still accepting petitions. They're still accepting applications. So if
Okay.
if you want to, you know, petition for your fiance, if you want to petition for your spouse, you can still put in that application.
Okay.
Now, some of the issues may come up where, for example, even if you're doing an adjustment is where you're married to a United States citizen and you're both here in the United States.
Okay.
Now, some of the issues may come up where with the interview. So typically the interview is held at the USCIS office. Currently, USCIS is closed for in-person services.
Okay.
So the asylum offices, the ASC centers, and the USCIS itself, as far as interviewing and in-person services, they're closed. However, good news, June the 4th, they have announced that they are opening back up. And so I think that some of those processes are going to get started and get moving again as things open back up. So we may see something where the consulars, you know, and it's going to depend on the country. I don't, you know, we may have to go on the website for that specific country, but for some of those countries, you're going to be able to go on and see if that consular office is open.
Yeah.
A lot of them are closed, and so that's going to impact your application. But some of them are opening back up, and so we may have to check and see if it is, and if you're going to get any hiccups with your application.
Because I know, like in Nigeria, the embassies were closed. I don't know if they're open. And then even here in Atlanta, the one in Atlanta for Nigerians was closed as well. So I don't know if it's open. So people are pretty much stranded in a way.
Right.
So someone asked a question. He said, meanwhile, what are the conditions to file nowadays? Like, are there any conditions to filing for those visas?
I need more specific question. That's too general.
Can you be more specific, Papi K7? Please kind of be more specific with your question. Let's go to the next question real quick. And then, okay, he said, I learned that the non-citizen must be insured under the spouse.
Yeah, so there are a lot of changes that has happened, okay, with the adjustment application. On February 24th, the USCIS changed their rules. And so people prior to that didn't have to do the self declaration, where a declaration of self-sufficiency, where they have to basically show that they're wealthy enough to be here in the United States and they're not going to become a public charge. And so it's called the public charge rule. And it's really changed up the way that we've done adjustments in this country, because before it wasn't nearly as much work, and it was not nearly as much stress for the couple to produce all of these extra documents. And so now they're trying to see, hey, okay, guys, let's see how much money you have. And it's a whole separate test, a wealth test. And so, you know, you're going to have to be showing if they're on insurance. You're going to have to be showing your credit reports and your credit score and things like that.
Oh, wow.
So, right. So it's it's a little bit more complicated than it was. And as I stated, this was something pretty new that happened on February 24th of this year. So, immigration laws are fast changing. They're changing all the time. So you have to get somebody who knows and keeps up with the law, because you don't want to do this stuff yourself. I've had someone before mess up their application. They, ended up putting themselves in removal proceedings. And
Oh, wow.
removal proceedings are really where they're trying to deport you and get you to leave the United States. And so, you want to make sure that your paperwork is in order, and that you don't have any issues.
So you said something about showing their credit report. So what if the credit report is bad? What happens?
Well, for that particular thing, it's called the I-944, and it's going to look at everything, and they're going to weigh all the factors, right? So you may have some negative factors, you may have some positive factors, and they're going to look at it cumulatively, and they're going to weigh them and see, okay, is this person going to become a burden? Are they going to become a public charge on the United States government?
Yeah.
So that's really what the test is trying to see. And so, that's what it's trying to see.
Yeah, someone, Antonika said every law is changing, so it's better to get with a professional instead of doing it yourself. You're so right.
Absolutely.
Because like things keep changing. Things were different in February, in April, things have changed. And even now in June, I'm sure it's just going to keep changing. So it's just better to speak with a lawyer who knows what's going on.
Absolutely.
So what if the spouse is located outside of the U.S.? There's some people here, and I'll give you an example. There was a bride. I went to a venue recently, and there was a bride that was stuck in Europe, and she couldn't come for the wedding, so they had to cancel the wedding. So what if the spouse is located outside of the U.S. and she's in the process of applying to move to the U.S. to live with the spouse? Then what happens? With what's going on right now?
Yes, that would have been a situation where she had to go through the consular, and she wasn't able to. And so, I feel for people who are going through this and they're not able to join their spouse because of the way that the laws are right now, and the travel ban, COVID. There's so many things going on, right? It's not just, the president said a travel ban or this or that. We're in a pandemic right now, and so it's just affecting everyone. It's affecting weddings. It's affecting people's work. It's affecting how we relate to people. It's affecting even how we work. A lot of people now are working virtually, which we never, they maybe have never done that before. Yeah. And so, there's not a really an easy answer. I do feel for all those people who invested so much, to come here and have their weddings, and they had their dreams and their hopes and everything, only for it to get canceled. But definitely, you have to look at their situation, see if they can work with an immigration attorney. There are some things that may be able to be done. I'm not sure what her specific situation would be, but definitely, if you'd like to.
Sorry, I guess sorry, I'm sorry for cutting you short. I thought you were done.
No, I was just going to give my phone number for those who want to call. 281-606-5362. Let me know what your specific situation is, and let's see how we can work together and hopefully, solve your immigration issue.
Okay, what was that? 281?
281-606-5362.
5362.
Yes, ma'am.
For anyone who wants to contact Shirley, that's her number. All right, so someone here has a question, and I have a question right after this. Do you have any advice for employers in our industry, which is, of course, the events industry? He's a baker. With immigrant employees, is there anything we can do to help them? I know it's all dependent on the kind of visas they have. So what's your advice for employers in the events industry that have, immigrant employees? And, a lot of people do have immigrant employees, like florists, decorators, even hotels, venues. So what's your advice?
My advice is to, stay current with your visa if you can. You don't want to lapse and, overstay your visa, because then you may, start accruing unlawful status. And so that's a whole different analysis, but try to be current with your visa as much as possible.
Okay.
That would be nice.
Okay. What if their visas are not current? Because the thing is, some of them don't have current visas right now, and they are not able to, because some people in the past, I know they will travel to Canada or travel somewhere to go renew the visa, because I think they have to be out of the country, but they can't actually go out right now. Would they kind of, I guess, would that be pardoned just because it's not their fault that the pandemic happened?
Right. So due to COVID-19, they are giving some extensions, right?
Okay,
So
extension.
we'd have to look specifically to your case, but the government, understands that, hey, there's a pandemic going on. You may have needed to leave, right? And you're stuck and you can't leave. So that's going to be reasonable, right? That you're here and because of the pandemic. So, definitely get with an immigration attorney, try to see what your options are and what you can do, what kind of extensions you may be able to file, or what can be done to help you in your case.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for answering that. So someone here had sent a question earlier saying, if I'm legally married to a U.S. citizen, am I still considered illegal before and after filing, pending approval? So they're already married, but they're still filing. So are they, I guess, are they illegal while they're filing and before they file?
That's a really difficult question, to be honest with you, because of the fact that just because you marry a U.S. citizen does not mean that you have lawful status.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, it doesn't. There's a whole analysis that has to be done. One of it being, how did you enter the United States?
Oh, wow.
So a lot of people think like, oh yeah, I'm married to a United States citizen. It's a cure-all. It is not. There are some people who are married to a United States citizen and nothing can be done for them.
Nothing can be done. So even after they finish filing and they are now married to a
it just kind of depends on, okay, did they file their paperwork themselves? Were they, when they filed, were they eligible to file, right? Because sometimes people file something and they don't know what they're filing, or maybe they were supposed to file that paperwork. And then they get then USCIS get that documentation, and then they get issued an NTA. An NTA is a notice to appear. What does that mean? That you're in immigration proceedings. That now they're trying to remove you and deport you out of the U.S.
You're so right. I do have a friend that happened to.
Right. So you have to make sure that the proper analysis is done. Each case is different, and immigration law is very complicated.
Yeah, you're so right, because I have a friend or a friend's friend who was married, and they had been married for 2 years. But I guess before she got married to him, her visa had expired or something, so she had become illegal. And she said ICE, I think that's what they call them, came to her house to get her. So, but I guess she was able to get a lawyer immediately and start filing some things, and that was what saved her, because they were ready to deport her. So yes, you're so right about that. These questions are not about weddings, they're just general questions. Does a non-immigrant have rights in the USA? What kind of rights do they have? Do they have any rights at all?
Well, yes, you do have rights.
Oh, okay.
There are certain rights that you have even if you are undocumented.
Oh, wow.
And that's something that a lot of people don't know, and I did a video on that. Okay. If you go to my page, you can check it out, where it goes more into those rights. But yes, that's the simple answer. You do have rights, even if you are undocumented in the United States.
Okay, all right. Someone asked a question which I think I already know the answer as well. Can extensions be filed for a visiting visa? That's yes, because I've filed for someone before. So that's a yes for it was someone here that asked that question earlier. Can you explain briefly what undocumented alien mean? What exactly is that? Some people want to know that. These are questions that were sent to me.
Yes. So undocumented simply means that they don't have their papers, right? That's a simple way of putting it. They don't have a visa. They don't have, I guess, the legal right to be here. Some people will say you're illegal, right? But I choose to use the term undocumented.
Yeah. Yeah, somebody's laughing here that I said you do have rights. Yes, you do have rights. All right. Does anyone else have any other questions before I ask Shelley to close out? Any more questions? If you don't have any more questions, then Simon Says Law, that's her page, and I'm going to type it here again. Um, like we said earlier, it's better for you to find an attorney to help you instead of trying to file or extend anything right now, because the laws are changing every month. We don't know what's gonna happen in June. We don't know what other restrictions are gonna come in June. So make sure you get a lawyer, especially if you're getting married or your fiancé is in Nigeria or in Europe or any other country right now. Make sure you talk to an attorney so they can help you. So it's Simon Says Law. I'm gonna type it in here. Do you have anything to close with, Shelley? Anything you want to say to everyone? Oh, someone just asked a question. Okay. How has COVID affected people on filing for asylum or as refugees?
Well, if they're in the country already, in fact, I had somebody call me today who wanted to file for asylum. You can still file for asylum. Um, the refugee would be somebody who's located outside the U.S., so that would be a different process and a more difficult process. But if you can, if the question is, can you file for asylum still? Yes, you can.
Okay. But it's easier if you're already in the US. It's more difficult if you're still outside, which is refugee, right? Okay. All right. Do you have anything else to say to everyone watching, or?
I just want to say thank you so much for having me on here. I met Doyen when my friend was planning her wedding last year, and she just made sure everything went off with a hitch. So I know that your services are well needed. So, so thank you for that. Thank you for serving the community, and thank you for having me on here so that everybody can get some knowledge. And if you would like to talk to me and ask me more specific questions about your case, you can give me a call, 281-606-5362, or you can go to my website, www.shellesimonlaw.com, SHELLESIMONLAW.com. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming here. Thank you for talking to everyone. And
Nope.
you have a lovely day, and everyone else have a lovely evening as well.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks.